Hello, this is the awkward GM Corbin, and today we are talking about Trinity Continuum Anima creation. And if you've been following the stream so far, I last week I did the Trinity Continuum overview of the entire world. And if you're here for character creation for Trinity Continuum Core, which is what the main characters are made of in Trinity Continuum Anima, I already did that episode. That would be under Trinity Continuum Core, under Beginner's Guide in the Onyx Path YouTube page. This is for the Anima character, which is the backdoor high fantasy game that they have here. Character sheet looks sort of like this. I'm going to try and modify the screen as I go along, but essentially you've got a truncated character sheet here. You've got your name, concept, your path, people path, which is your species, race, or what have you, your class path, which is your character class, obviously, and then your guild path, which is, if I remember correctly, one of the example ones we had was like the Griefer Guild, the Role Playing Guild, and the Raiding Guild. So, like the people who focus on the PvP, role playing, or the normal game PvP rating, like PvE or role playing aspects of your character. As you can also see, there is a lot more simplicity when it comes to the character sheet here. You've got the Arcana, Athletics, Block, Crafting, Lore, Magic Attack, Physical Attack, Stealth, and Persuasion. So these are all sort of your character sheet, as it were. It's very similar to Exalted Essence, I think, in that regard, where a lot of it was more truncated because instead of having the attributes, you have approaches, like so. I did make a character using the rules back before they were out of the manuscript phase, but today I am just going to be going over the final copy of it. And sadly, right now, everything's a little bit funky. Hopefully, me adjusting stuff on the fly isn't going to cause too many issues. I do apologize for all this. I was trying to set it up before, but I had set it up specifically for the wrong size window, I guess. Let's see. Thank you for bearing with me on this wonderful day. If you can imagine, I have a lot of goals for this year. I've been bothering Travis all day with my own ideas. Hopefully, we'll see that stuff happen in the future. Okay, so I've adjusted the screen slightly. Let's see if I can transition to the update. Now, what does this make it look like for the interactive character sheet? Interactive character sheet looks pretty much fine. We'll go with it. Okay, so going down into character creation, we have anima creation down here. Wonderful lit RPG style. I love the art in this book. Mad props to the people who made it. I believe there's credits here. We have the art: Emmanuel DeSanti, Sam Denmark, Andrew Trebold. And then we have T-Rex Studios, Gong Studios, Naval Studios, Hive Studios, Skarn Trisuwan, and James Stowe. I am very bad at names. I apologize if I butchered anyone, but I just wanted to say shout out for all this beautiful art that's in the book. Love it. So, anima creation, very simple. We might get done with this early, and if that's the case, I might want to go into some setting secrets if you are all interested in that. Now, first up, the thing about animas is that they're separate from your main character. Like, they actually do have levels, which your own characters in Story Path don't typically have. In Story Path, for instance, you're going to have your XP costs be the main deciding factor on a lot of things. Like, you're not leveling up your power stat or anything. You don't have a power stat. You are instead leveling up your different skills and attributes. In this case, we will have skill. You will be able to add an approach, skill, and aspect dots together from paths. You have gear from your paths, and your anima starts at level 1. And then you can add 0 to 15 levels to an anima. Now, another thing about the game is you can have multiple animas. So if you're going to be making, for instance, your own sort of game that you want your players to play in that isn't Terra Surge, you can do that. You can have them play in an Animal Crossing game for all that the game cares about. In any case, though, this is like your own little side character that you have. And you can have your own adventures in Terra Surge. You could play it straight, or you could play it as a lit RPG. You could play it as it's a lit RPG that people are stuck in. I say lit RPG. It's an MMO that you're stuck in, and you have to find a way out. It could be any number of different things. It's all on the story guide, what they want to do with it. And I really love the lit RPG genre. Hey, if you're going to tag this video on YouTube, put lit RPG in here at some point. But in any case, we have the approaches: culture, class, guild path. We'll go through them down here. So we have got the culture path. You have the Cheruvians, who are seaborn, technologically advanced beyond that of many other people, making them excellent crafters. Oh, I can show you guys these creatures. Yeah, so you have the variety creatures here. You've got the bug people on the right. You've got the actually, these might all be bug people. I think they did a lot of, where did they put them? Synesthesia, that is. So we have the people of synesthesia. We have the Kavorians, which are the merfolk. The sushi player given sushi fishes, and seaborn, which is the canonical term for them. And you've got the humans, which are humans. So these are the Kavorian. They're the mermaids. And then you've got the humans right here. And then you've got the Kumderi, which are the they look like desert dogs. Canonical and derogatory is desert dogs. Dune dwellers is the canonical one, and flappers is what people call them. I guess a little pugmire got into this game, it appears. And then you have the Quell, which are one of my favorites. They're the insect people. The Sentients, which look to be more of your sort of Warforged type creatures. They are artificially created. They're like Pinocchio. And then you have the Veer, who seem to be elf-like feather folk. Oh, they're birds. They're birds. So we've got those races. If you want to create your own, you can. I would definitely do that if I was making my own. And as soon as this gets onto StoryPath Nexus, I want to create my own version of a game for within this game. Okay, so back to the anima creation. Building your anima. I am definitely going to go with the Quell, a warrior culture of insect-like people who are from subterranean depths of the Synestia's core. They make their homes in the mountains, plotting against one another, jockeying for position among themselves. All the while, they hope to find out their purpose. Oh, it looks like Dorktales is streaming as well today. That's awesome. Anyway, case, this would be a great race to have in the world below, honestly. And if I get a chance, I'm going to tell people that they should do that. In any case, we've got a bunch of other stuff in here. These are your skills. You get 1 Arcana, 1 attack, and physical 2. Now, I'm just double checking here, because if I choose this class, Does that mean I get all of the stuff? Thank you, Void Nothing, for the cheers. I appreciate it profusely. I do not often plug these. I should plug these more. Dorktales is doing a Holloway rerun marathon, so you aren't missing anything new while we are watching you wrestle with this here. Thank you, Chandra Magic, for being here. If even if it was just me watching, like it doesn't mean anything if it's just me watching it. If you're watching it, it means we're having a show. Okay, so let's see here. I just want to make sure that the anima path stuff is correct, because I think it's the path gives you all the stuff that you need. So you add the approach and skill dot together from paths. So I'm just gonna add the paths together, and we'll see where we go. They dictate all your starting aspects. Unlike character paths, anima paths are not rated. Culture and class paths do not come with access, but instead describe the character's aesthetic and capabilities. So, culture path gives you 4 skill dots and a special aspect. Okay, so doing the Quell. Arcana 1, magic attack 1, physical attack 1. Physical attack 2. And then I get this Summon Quell. I tried using Summon Quell back in the day, and I failed the roll. However, luckily with Summon Quell, if they haven't changed it, you still are able to summon at least one thing if you fail, even if you fail. Okay, so now we have the approaches for the class path, or sorry, not the approaches. We have the class paths. They give you a starting approach, HP, equipment, and additional skills and enhancements. And the enhancements are listed in parentheses next to the skill. If I remember correctly, I played a Fearless. But so you got the Boundless are explorers by nature, embracing the thrill of adventure. They seem like your stereotypical adventurers. You have your medics, you have your skirmishers, and you have your spies. Channelers, they channel magic. You have those who are able to unleash powerful spells. This one looks... Channelers focused on control pull from both McGrath and Mayru. I'm double checking if those are the people of Assinia. No, they are not. Okay. So each one of these channeler types is different. So you've got the controller, who's probably like a debuffer, I'm guessing. And then you have the destruction chambers are focused on Braga, the destructive aether. Okay, so Braga, McGrath, Mayru, and aether are different types of spell types. So channeler, controller, destroyer, and supporter. So this one seems to be buffs for healing. Oh, okay, so supporters, buffs, and healing, whereas controller is debuff your enemies. Okay. And then we have the Fearless, which are the ones that I like because they were, your combat weapon type specialists. Red Blade is one where you have a mercurial weapon, which allows you to change what weapon type you're using on the fly. In particular, for me, that weapon was... I had a sword that could turn into a bow and arrow, basically. You could switch between the different types on the fly. Fearless Defenders are your tanks. They withstand a lot of attack and punishment. And then you have the Bombardier, who is a mixture of attack and defense, whereas the Fearless Red Blade is mostly attack. Mages, you have the Elementalists, who use fire and other powerful destructive magics. You have the Illusionists, who are basically doing trickery stuff. And then the Soul Workers, they have connections to the planes. That looks like some type of like mind control or summoning class. Okay, and then we have the Muses. wild magic running through them. Their words placate those around them, and they find themselves acting as mediators, politicians, and ambassadors. Okay, so these are your social type characters. Intercessor assists allies in combat and act as politicians. They spend their time keeping the peace and de-escalating situations. You have the Muse Marshals who call orders to their allies. That sounds like a little bit like a warlord from D&D 4e. And then you've got Wilds, prioritize the connection to green playing over all else. They often have a minor vibrant they have attracted to aid them. Seems more like a druid type character. Oop, apologies, hit my mic. In any case, I'm going to go with my Fearless Red Blade because I'm a little bit familiar with that. So I get 3 in Force, 2 in Finesse, and 1 in Resilience. And this is because I chose a character that is very lopsided. +2 in Athletics, 1 in Lore, and 1 in Block. And I probably have something else. Oh, and I get 2 more physical attack, which is +1 to melee and +1 to range. So +1 melee, comma, +1 range. So the people path is the that's the Quell. Class path is going to be Fearless Red Blade. I start out with 1 in both of those, and then in the guild, I am going to go with. So you have the crafting guilds, you have the exploratory guilds, you have the griefing guilds, you have the raid guilds, and you have the roleplay guilds. You also have the special interest guilds. So those are your types of like knitting groups, or LGBT plus Q plus type groups, mainly people who are getting together because they share a special interest. Could be anything. I wouldn't say it's, oh, you are a special interest. It's more of, oh, you have some sort of shared interest together, or shared background. Oh, my starting HP is 5. I have a common weapon that has enhanced 1 and brutal. +1 E and brutal. And then I also get the mercurial weapon aspect. And scrolling down back to, I'm going to take the role-playing guild. Call in the guild. You may choose one of the following benefits. Gain access to an exclusive Terror Surge party, either as a guest or a host. Gain a +3 enhancement to persuasion actions, or gain a vital piece of information about another character, anima, or NPC. We're just going to do call in the guild, and we'll figure out the specifics if and when I get to play this character again. By the way, this character's name is going to be Scar with a K. Scar with a K was my first D&D character, also known as Shakir, or Shakira by derogatorily by my friends. It was part of Dark Sun. It was the Thrycreen, and I can never play that character again because I don't know. I'm just gonna put Campbell as the controlling player's name, and Insect Warrior is the concept. And then I have the role-playing guild. This is how you know it. I ramble a lot because I love that character and I can't play it again because it's always difficult to get your character race signed off on. especially if it's a animal type for obvious reasons. Even though that's not the reason why I like it. Okay, level 1, HP 5. Basically, I've created my character now. Oh no. There we go. That should have fixed it. There we go. So the anima is done. We finished that character creation in about a minute. It feels like I've been rambling. It's only been 22 minutes that this stream's been going, and we've already finished the game, finished the character. Started off, you grab the various different people's aspects. So, for instance, Summon Quell here. Dark Sun was a great setting, but it had a lot of questionable and triggerable things within it. Chandra Magic says, I agree to an extent. The thing that I really get iffy on is that Dark Sun was going from a dystopic setting to a dystopic setting with a lot of progressive change because it was about environmentalism, and it had a lot of environmentalism aspects, and it had a lot of like breaking the chain slavery stories. I was hoping that if they progressed the storyline, they could get rid of a lot of the bad stuff about it, but they didn't. But also psionics are very difficult, which you don't have to worry about in anima, because in anima they have the fearless red blade, which to me is exactly what I want in a psionic character. It's got the if I go down here, it's the red blade fearless aspect for mercurial weapon. You can take on the form of a new weapon, allowing him to adjust to any situation. Ordinary action, the anima switches his weapon between a ranged and melee one. When he does this, he may use the better of his melee or ranged enhancement on his next attack. Quest phase, phase 2 or 3, gain +1 enhancement for overcoming a complication during a combat. At level 10, the anima may use mercurial weapon to give a melee weapon the reach tag, or ranged weapon the extended range. Oh, and I can increase the enhancement at level 20, and as a reflexive action, it can be used with another +1 on its next attack, and I can get all this other juicy stuff on it. Aspects seem fun. Let's definitely look at the leveling though. It looks like there are a variety of starting level bonuses, advancements per level rotation. So for every second level you gain a skill, for every 11th level you gain an aspect. So look at that as like one. So it looks like it flips over consistently. But if you want to start at level 16, you can. So players may choose to increase their anima's abilities as they want, spending their level picks as they wish. Following a few guidelines, an anima can gain a new approach dot every 10 levels. So at level 10, 20, 30, etc., the anima can gain a new skill enhancement every 3 levels, which is 3 to 3, 6, 9, and 12. Okay, so this is how you're a little bit different than than whatever character you're playing as. So there are level caps. Starting anima level bonuses is basically if you want to have your players start at a higher level. It only goes up to 16, which is probably for the best. I am about to sneeze. To mute my mic. Apologies for that. Bless you if you can in the chat. In any case, So automatic advancement rotations will prompt players to choose a specific trait to increase the level if they choose to turn it on. Okay. An example of this rotation is provided in the advancement rotation. Okay, so which shows the first 10 levels before the pattern repeats. Okay, we have that level cap. You have the aspects, you have your quest phase. This lists the phase of a quest this power is suited for. Some aspects may be useful for more than one phase. If a power has a different effect when being used in a quest rather than in free play, those mechanics are listed here. Otherwise, only use the effect. So Feather Light is you never suffer falling damage. So this can be used at any time whenever you're falling or sinking. Then you have stuff like, go down here. Summoning a Quell can be rolled at any point. And even if you fail the roll, you can always summon at least one drone. A drone is sort of like a extra character that you get to use. A minor vibrant. This is interesting. We have new minor character types that you can toss in. So camouflage would be good at phase 2 or 3. I think we need to go into those phases at some point. Now I'm like wanting to go through everything else. I think we're good on character creation and anima creation. We have the aspects. We've gone through a bunch of them. I really like certain types of aspects. I don't think you get any aspects for guild type. You don't. We have the fearless, the channeler. It definitely seems like there's a lot more to these characters, but this is what I think is a very good game design philosophy, is having these things set up like this, these abilities set up in this way, especially because they're trying to emulate a system that they don't typically emulate with the story path system. Story path is not as much about the mechanical gameplay of leveling up and getting various different skill buffs. It is about playing a narrative, being the character that you're playing as, and basically figuring out how you want to make that character go forward. You can play these characters without having a character sheet in the real world. You could just have a very bare bones character. You could use these as talents, essentially. Like, so your main character could be a normal human, not a talent or anything. But when you go into Terror Surge, you have the same capability as someone who is a talent. Unless they're a Ghost Wolf, because Ghost Wolves do have access to dramatically edit in Terror Surge. Although animas work the same way as player characters in Trinity Continuum, players do not use their anima character sheets while their animas are in Terror Surge. Players do not use their anima characters sheets. This includes talents generally not being able to use gifts, inspiration, and dramatic editing while in Terror Surge, with the exception of the gift in the zone. The same goes for Novas, Syads, and Syads using their special abilities. There may be exceptions, particularly in the area of character knowledge. If the story guide rules the character's skill or gifts might be useful in this situation, a successful roll on the anima character sheet might add enhancement to the anima's roll. Now, it's referring to the anima character sheet as the core character sheet, or in this case, your Trinity Continuum Anima character, as opposed to your Trinity Continuum Anima character. 1 + 2 + 2 + 1. Sorry. It does get a little bit confusing, I think, just slightly. But we do have structuring of the quests with the phases here. This is what I was looking at before. Quests follow a 4-phase structure. Each phase prompts a roll from the players as their animas go through the phases. These phases act as milestones towards achieving a goal of completing the quest and gaining the reward. Some phases may not require a roll, and story guides may wish to implement roleplay scenes in between rolls for different phases. Whenever a player wishes to undertake anything other than wandering through the game world, their animas are likely on one quest or another. No matter what the quest is, it follows these 4 phases: obtain the quest, travel, enact the quest, turn in the quest. So, obtaining the quest, you get it from a quest giver. It may require social interactions, use of arcane lore or knowledge to find an item, but just as often, this phase requires no rules to accomplish. You choose your equipment loadout and determine if you want to activate any quest-long abilities or consumables during the course of the game. You can change your equipment loadout in later phases, but doing so costs 1 success. So you'd have to roll to do so. Travel. You travel to a location of the quest. Usually this requires no roll or an element that requires fighting through monsters or traveling long distances by foot, which requires resources and actions to accomplish. So you could have a survival aspect to this. You could have, for instance, your character needs to have rations and resources that they need to go through. Then you have enacting a quest. This is the meat of the quest, such as killing a monster or gathering a specific resource. This always requires the animus to take some kind of action, be it making an attack or solving a puzzle or such. And then you turn in the quest, which is you repeat. Basically, you could skip this where you go to the quest giver and you get your reward. I usually skip this for my actual plays because I've been doing Trinity Continuum Assassins, and the amount of coins that players get at the end of an assassination mission, especially when it's a one-shot, doesn't typically matter as much to people. Okay. So it can be fun. We have the types of quests. You have the boss quests, where you focus on trying to take down a giant raid boss. You have the escort quests, which you need to escort someone from point A to point B. A gather quest, which is you need to gather some sort of resource, which can be monster parts, maybe even killing several monsters. A fetch quest, which means you go to a place, grab an item, and bring it back to the owner. Quest complications, you can add different complications to different things. Phase 1, you need to overcome a complication to get a lesser reward and instead get a better reward. Escort quests are evil and I hate them. I hates them so much. Chandra Magic. Yes, escort quests can be very difficult. If you look at a lot of game design in recent years, escorts quests have been changed drastically. Typically, what you'll find is the the VIP that you're escorting is usually a invincible NPC that can't do any damage to anything. Because what they found is if enemies can, it can be a very negative play experience. This is why BioShock Infinite, you never have to worry about Elizabeth. But if you remember Resident Evil 4, Ashley was a terrible, terrible escort mission because if you turned your back at any moment, she could be kidnapped by cultists and you lose the mission. In any case. You can, if stuff has been hacked about the quest, you might have to fight the hack. You can have additional difficulty if you don't if you don't figure out a way around a specific issue with the quest starting requirements. Okay, you can get points of damage for traveling. And 3, you can suffer points of damage if you fail to buy off a field. You can Oh, oh yeah, the narrators or devs can take direct control of a monster. I think, as someone who did a lot of role playing in MMOs back in the day, and it was here's my little spiel about my favorite MMO. It was The Matrix Online. And the reason it was my favorite MMO was because it was basically a LARP. The game sucked hard, but the people who ran it were amazing, and they would have you talk to NPCs and do missions like trying to take out a target with them. It was fun. You and we would also run our own missions in games, and they allowed us to um, purchase for very little in-game currency your own items and stuff like that, so you could run your own missions. Like, here, I have a disc with information we need to get to a specific person. Can you deliver it and all that stuff? It was very good at the time. Sadly, it went away. We have various consumable items, tags. Oh, and we've got our little pug guys here. Remember talking about them earlier. Oh, we've got magical items. Burning blade. You got a fire blade. It causes people to go on fire. This reminds me of something. I think it reminds me of Reboot. They had a mermaid character in Reboot. Anti-fascism stuff. Literary RPGs. There is the metagame. Push and pull. When in Cascadia, talents never stand alone. Whatever Cascade and its corporations throw at them, they can rely on each other. Allegiances represent social contract of Cascade. Okay, we've talked about the Aeon Covenant. We've talked about the Optech and the Ghost. Oh, am I in the secrets? So, I'm not in the secrets yet. I am in the story guiding. Terra Surge is popular in Cascade, and in reality, self-aware intelligences are using it as a beachhead against humanity by possessing key glass users. These AIs started appearing around the same time as the Jahat appeared in-game. And many of the AI use Jahat NPCs as vehicles, so the AI force and those that control are collectively called the Jahat. Go back through the book. If you see references to mysterious forces or strange glitches, odds are it's the Jahat. It's one part mystery, one part spy thriller. Who is controlled by the Jahat? You can decide which side you want to emphasize when you run this conflict. I like that. That gives it a little bit more meat to it, because a lot of lit RPG books tend to flounder a lot on what the plot should actually be. You have a whodunit plot, secret crystal cave area where the Jahat try and brainwash people. Going crystal becomes slang for this weird occurrence where gamers go missing and only to return at a much higher level. Another gamer reaches out of to the talents to tell them that her sibling isn't acting the same since he went to the crystal. Rumors abound that Governor Sinclair went crystal before introducing a bill for a new glass project. Ooh. Slowly discover something is deeply wrong as Jahat kill animas in the crystal cave and possess their body in Cascade. That is pretty good. Another way to run anima, and one that works very well in the larger Trinity Continuum campaign, is revealing the Jahat in the first few sessions and even in the prelude. Now that the talents know about them, they must uncover exactly how far the conspiracy reaches without drawing the Jahat's attention. Okay. The mystery doesn't have to stop with discovering the existence of Jahat AIs. Anima is pretty laser focused on the plotline. It's kind of narrow, but it gives a lot of breathing room for the story guides. I mean, yeah, You're right about that Chandra magic. It does have a very narrow starting off point, but it does give you a good world to play around in. Like you could do this AI taking over thing in any different type of game. You could have a 1920s anima glass video game where the players are going up against the mob, and the mob is kidnapping people and turning them into mobsters and stuff like that. Whereas everyone is playing like vigilante detectives normally. When I played Matrix Online, you had people who were pretending to be agents every day. It was I did it for a few times because we were going to do a story for our guild, but it ended up falling apart because the game was dying. In any case, various scenarios, in-world holiday, a new game launch, conventions. Oh, God. See, a lot of this is stuff I used to do and I have nostalgia for, but I could never do it in real life because bad I have a very bad history with conventions. And if you have bad time at conventions, don't worry about it. Other people do too. Sometimes you need to find the convention for you or find a structure for you. Um, Stay safe in that regard. Now, we have 15 minutes left. I am going to go to setting secrets. Tell anyone. If you made it to the end of this video or this stream, congrats. You've gotten to the secret part. Spoilers. If you do not wish for any of the setting secrets to pop out, I leave now. Give you some time. I am very curious if they are the Doyen. The investigators digging into the anomalous events in Cascade suspect them to be infected by code from an aberrant saboteur or a plot by rival companies to disrupt Terror Surge. None yet suspect that the Jahat are the mask for another threat altogether, one from out of this world. Okay, it's gotta be Doyen. The Jahat have been suborned not by aberrants but aliens. They have given no names to their human collaborators, but the one used for their chosen proxies are Jahat. No one has seen what they look like, but their presence has been deeply woven into Cascade and Synestia, and they are responsible for all the disappearance. A century ago, this Ascending were the ruling class of a sprawling interdimensional empire, titanic invertebrates that possess quantum powers of such magnitude they outstripped even those wielded by the most monstrous of aberrants. Ooh, okay, they're not Doyen. As they turned against, but their unfathomable powers could not save them from internal strife, as they turned against one another and destroyed their civilization in a firestorm of quantum power. They died, but from the wreckage emerged the digital ghosts, quantum constructs called perfected minds. These quantum emulations were made with reality defying quantum technology stored on an ark to carry them to a new home. They chose Earth, of course. Their ark was damaged on the arrival, enforced emergency power, sending most of the emulated minds of the Ascendancy into a state of slumber. One helped direct it once they arrived at Earth. That Cascade had technology infrastructure that they would need to establish a foothold on Earth. The ark warped to a point beneath the city, causing the infamous Cascadia earthquake of 2077. FSA covered up first contact and built a facility codenamed Bracewell beneath the city to quarantine and study the ark. They didn't understand the technology. The ark was damaged. When did they add them to... Okay, so the firewall of Cascade keeps them from leaving Cascade. The and all, but the Earth's mainframe city lack the infrastructure necessary to support their ascendancy mines currently. With only the first mine activated, their approach defines the ascendancies. The first mine was not the most powerful of the ascendancy, but they were the most careful and most vigilant. They familiarize themselves with Cascade and its inhabitants, bribing humans to become willing agents and conspire or silencing those who resist. They remain vigilant for interference from other alien species, such as the energy life forms they suspect engineered the downfall of the Empire. The Doyen. Okay, so the first mind, the second mind, and the third mind are all the different class of aliens. Perfected minds are too complex to instantiate themselves within Terror Surge. Instead, they must generate a simplified copy of their consciousness containing a fraction of their power called an eidolon, which uses these specifically designed animas to interact with Terror Surge. These animas follow most of the rules of Terror Surge to appear as legitimate antagonists, though no online guides or databases available to players recognize them. Despite their need to conform to the game limitations, they are able to hack the game to lock down other animas and render their players vulnerable to quantum intrusion code. Ascendancy animas appear most commonly as Jahat NPCs that seem to glitch through the environment, moving with the speed in a stuttering stop fashion. This is something straight out of a copy pasta, if I feel apt to say. Basically, copy pasta is like if you're seeing someone T-posing and running at you. For some reason, there's this idea in a lot of gaming circles, especially in younger gaming circles, where something T-posing for dominance is scary. It's not for me, but if it is for you, go for it. They have this ability called Lockdown. All players come cut off from Terror Surge. Their animas may neither leave nor communicate with anyone outside of the field in Terror Surge. Logging out results in automatic incapacitation. They can become vulnerable to quantum intrusion. Interesting. Hijacking, logging in sickness. Hot infiltration. What's this? Everyone is compromised. This is very similar to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I love it. Look at this. That's a sussy guy right there. That's a little intruder. Streamers and expansive interactive. The first mind doesn't only target personnel and allegiances. They understand they need some control over Terror Surge itself to solidify a beachhead. However, Expanse Interactive has proven particularly tricky, as many of the employees play on a private server and trained in corporate espionage and counter-hacking techniques. So instead, the Jihad have taken control of high-profile streamers. These are the players who start going missing and likely lead the characters in Anima to investigate the mystery of the Jihad. As such, we don't detail these compromised streamers here. It's better if the player characters' contacts or established characters in your chronicle get targeted for such conversion. A lot of history here. I am not going to go into it as much. Readers with access to Aberrant and Aeon may want to introduce Aberrants into Anima campaign. While First Strike Ultima saw all known Aberrants and Novas depart from the Earth, others may have remained, keeping a low profile or erupting after the Aberrant Exodus. Aberrants might be drawn to Cascade as a symbol to crush or display dominance. It would take very little effort to decide what people's fears are true and that Aberrants actually are among them. Unconventional players may even try to pit them against the Ascendancy to see who comes out on top. Operating openly, though, means the FSA will come out and kill you. I'm looking at a lot of different stuff in here. Oh, there is a new expansion coming out called Lurking Depths. The Underbaron. Fifth Desolate is the rampant foe, unknown by the other four. It was born at the very center of Synestia encased in stone. Unable to move, it went utterly mad. When the quell expanded too far below ground, they disturbed and managed to free it. Doesn't have any special effect on the jihad beyond being really good gear usually does in Terror Surge, but it's the kind of thing that will make players famous for actually making them and lead to the foe. Rampant foe. Wordsmiths. The Haku were taught the secrets of wordsmithing, the art. Yeah, I can't wait for additional stuff to come out to Chandra Magic. For this, I want to write my own stuff. You can write your own little mini lit RPG in here if you want. I have no information about any of this, though. A glitch resulting from Ascendancy modifying the game causes the quest flags for the class to become active. So you can unlock this class that was previously just an Easter egg, but just hidden behind some code. Oh, the Wordsmith class immunizes the anima against quantum intrusion. In truth, the narrator, known as Jane, has begun to suspect something is wrong with the Yaha. It believes Mary, another narrator, has been compromised or damaged, but it doesn't have the capacity to run diagnostics on other narrators, only on itself. That it can tap into the half-built wordsmith code and use it to protect animas from what they believe are a series of glitches until developers can do stuff. Okay, so narrators are the four distinct artificial entities working at the speed of life to craft a coherent stories. The original programmers, primarily British and French, named them after popular authors, but none of them has any gender identity. John conceives most of the typical MMORPG quests. If a monster requires slaying, a war is brewing, or brawn is needed, this AI makes it happen. That doesn't mean its stories are basic. All the narrators are coded to strive for compelling stories and engagement. So John is named after John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien. Jane is named after Jane Austen, Victor is Victor Hugo, and Mary is Mary Shelley. Ah, that's awesome. We have 5 minutes left. Jane's input is probably the most important. It focuses on social interactions. It monitors in-game events, listens to every conversation, and scripts interesting NPCs based on what information on that information. Its goal is to trigger emotional roleplay and deep social interaction. It also sends players headfirst into political intrigue with the political factions, secret societies, or religious groups. So, also, keep track of your character bleed. Make sure that if players are getting upset with each other, it's not because their characters are upset and that it's bleeding into real life. Victor oversees exploration, culture, loot, and crafts. The primary task is to ensure players find something intriguing around every bend, whether a mysterious forest or underground cave, ghost town, or teeming village. It generates plot hooks and areas of interest other narrators use for their own quests. This means it also needs to spawn a lot of new content spontaneously. A never-before-discovered civilization or city always has its own architecture or art style, which Victor will make up as it goes. Finally, this AI balances out loot drops and rewards. If John says a unique sword must be used to defeat an opponent, it doesn't need to worry about what it actually does. Victor will make sure the sword makes sense within John's story, but also the world's power balance at large. It is named after Victor Hugo. And then Mary handles storylines and NPCs that follow on dark and arcane secrets, void entities, void itself, and death. Currently, the overarching plot hasn't yet reached the point where the major void entities are actively engaged with or even aware of synesthesia. But there are plenty of players exploring death and the underworld and one-off horror scenarios to keep Mary busy. She also deals in shadowy organizations, death cults, and cycle of reincarnation for all NPCs, both restless and inert. Rumors circulate that Mary is responsible for managing the Jahat, but why she would be handling such a faction is unclear. Now, this is what we were reading before, where Jane... Was it Jane or John? It was Jane. Jane made the wordsmith class, or released it, because she believes Mary is compromised. In any case, I hope you've had a wonderful time listening to me ramble on about Anima. As I've said before, Anima is one of my favorite Trinity Continuum worlds to play in. It is definitely up there along with Trinity Continuum Assassins as one of my favorites. Thank you all for watching, and if you got to the secret section of this playlist or this video, congratulations. I'll switch over to the pre-roll, the network roll, and then we will go and say hi to Dorktales if you are on stream right now. If you're not, if you're on YouTube, thank you for getting this far. Very few people manage to get to the end of a YouTube video, I find, especially one as long as these. Okay, I'm the Awkward GM Corbin. You can find me at the Awkward GM Corbin at YouTube. Travis did say I need to talk about stuff. We do have end of year stuff happening. And why can I not find this stuff? Here it is. So we have crowdfunding stuff probably happening soon. I have something that says watch the Monday meeting notes. Was there something on Monday meeting notes that I forgot? Onyx Path Monday meeting. Whenever we don't know what's going on, Travis just says keep an eye on Monday meeting notes. There hasn't been a new one because it was the new year, so that makes sense. Anything else? Game weekend is going to be the 26th of this month for January. And then that's about it. And there's my alarm saying that I need to feed Theo. So thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good one, and we are going to pre-roll.